How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. It's been a while since I talked about my high yield savings account strategy. Interest rate has been generally decreasing, but sometimes when interest rate increases a little bit, banks tend to drag their feet on increasing their own interest rate. And sometimes you have competition that comes in and has better and better high yielding interest rate accounts. So today I'm going to talk about my strategy on how to get the highest yielding interest rate on the cash that I do hold on to. Whenever I make these videos on high yield savings interest rate, many people would go in the comments and say, oh, I'd rather put my money in an investment account. I'm going to make 8% there instead. The thing is, everything that I talk about in this video is for your emergency savings. And for everybody, that's a little bit different. Some people might push it really hard. And as they have income coming in, they might only have 1 month's worth of cash, like real actual cash in their savings account or checking account. And the rest of it, they might plop it all into investments. Say, $2,000 come in and they need $1,000 to spend, and that $1,000 they would immediately put it into some investment account and immediately buy some index fund or something. Many people, on the other hand, would prefer to build up their savings just purely in cash, because sometimes you might have emergencies. Maybe you need to remodel your kitchen, or maybe you want to pay for a new roof that you did not anticipate that you have to pay for. Maybe you have car repair fees or something on the order of several $1,000s. So a lot of people would want an emergency saving stash of maybe 3 to 6 months worth of your expenditure. I personally want it more like 1 year or even 2 years worth of expenditure, just so that I know if my investments go down, I can not need to tap into my investments in order to still live. Maybe my income streams dry up during this market downturn and I don't have any income at all, so I can tap into this emergency savings of 1 to 2 years or so, and all of this would be held in cash. And where do you put this cash? Today in this video is what I'm going to talk about. That particular amount of cash that you're holding on to, be it 3 months worth of your burn rate, 1 year worth of your burn rate, or 2 years worth, you're going to want to put this somewhere where at least it's going to net you some sort of interest. These days, I'm going to tell you right up front, is going to be around 1.7 to 2%. 2.5% if you're really good about it. The danger with investing all of your cash as you're going is that if there's a market downturn, well, if you happen to need a little bit of extra cash, where are you going to get it? You're not going to have any cash laying around. So you're going to have to go in your investment account and decide what to sell. And it's going to hurt a lot. If you've seen your stock go down like 20%, 30, 40%, right? And you're forced to sell something in order to pay for, I don't know, car repair fees. Maybe you need to buy a new car because you totaled your car or something. And you need, let's say, $10,000. You're going to have to sell this stock at a loss, and it's going to hurt a lot. So your emergency savings, the purpose of this is so that you can hold on to your investments when you actually need to, and when it's the most important to hold on to it when there's a market downturn. Now, let me just tell you guys, high yield savings accounts, they fluctuate all the time. In my experience, even if you get the best high yield savings account on the market, it's going to change roughly between 3 to 6 months later. That's just the way it works in my experience over the past 10 years or so. You can always try to get the best high yield savings account, but it's always going to change. So you always need to, sort of change your bank account every once in a while to get the best rates. It's actually sad that you have to do this. I wish they have a bank account that's just going to be, always better. They update it a little bit more frequently so that it's always, at least within 0.1% of the best rate. That would be very nice, but I don't think they're ever going to do this, just because when they do it as they are doing it today, they're going to get more profits because they don't have to pay out as much interest. So here we go. Right now, I'm using public.com. They used to be called Matador. This is actually an investment account. What happens is if you have $10,000 in there that is not invested, it's sitting there in cash, they would actually pay you a 2.5% APY interest on this uninvested cash. It's pretty interesting that if you ever go online and try to look up high yield savings account, there's all these websites that would list them all for you. They don't list this public app as a high yield savings account because it isn't. It is actually an investment account. So that's why it doesn't appear there. And you have to note that they only pay 2.5% up to $10,000 of cash deposits in their account over here, it's SPIC insured and all that stuff. So what I ended up doing is I do not put $10,000 in exactly, because once you get some interest, right, anything over, you're not going to get 2.5%. So I'm like, okay, I kind of want to not look at it for a year. So 1 year worth of interest is $250. So I put around $9,750 in there. And so every month I'm going to get about $20. And this interest I'm going to get is going to get added to the principal. And so it will not ever really go over that $10,000 mark and earn me very little interest after that. So if you're okay with checking it every month, you could technically put $10,000 in and withdraw another $20 or buy some stocks or something. But I opted to not wanting to look at it too much. Or you could alternatively just say, okay, I'm going to look at it every 3 months or 6 months. And then you can adjust the amount that's in the account accordingly. If you guys are interested in this public app where you can get 2.5%, it's sort of unheard of. The next best one is around 1.8%. So check out my referral link down in the video description below. And if you sign up through my link, you can get a free share of stock. So if you happen to have more than $10,000 of emergency savings laying around, of course, this again depends on your comfort level, right? How much cash you want laying around. If you happen to have more of this, maybe you have some bunch of cash laying around because you're about to buy a home and you want all this money in a very safe place because this is a down payment. You don't want it to fluctuate all over the place. The next best thing is actually through HSBC direct savings. Now, I also looked up a whole bunch of online savings account, and on several of the top ranked Google searches, they actually do not list this HSBC direct savings. I have no idea why, but right now they do have a really good savings interest rate at 2.0 APY. You can see that, this public app thing has 2.5, which is, crazy. It's like really, really good. And there are no strings attached. You don't have to like do a whole bunch of credit card transactions. You don't have to do a whole bunch of debit card transactions like that. So I generally refer people to these high yield savings account that do not have these strings attached, because once you account for these strings that are attached, once you do all this work, it's actually you have to put work in. The next ones that I mentioned here is probably accounts that you do not even want to sign up for. If you do not have a high yield savings account, you definitely need one of these, okay? As long as you have like 1.7% and up, I would be happy and I would be like, okay, good job. I'm not going to hound you on actually getting a public app and get 2.5% because, those are just kind of nitpicky. I also have a Discover Online Savings account, and for whatever reason, it's 1.7% APY, and I do have most of my cash in here, mainly because I don't go around chasing after one bank or another just because they have a 0.1% higher yield. Right now, I might consider plopping some money over to HSBC Direct Savings because it is a 0.3% difference. So every $10,000, 1 year of putting your money into HSBC Direct versus Discover Online Savings, it's another $30 extra. So it's becoming slightly more and more significant. The more savings that you have, the more significant it becomes. The higher difference in the savings interest rate, the bigger a difference that it makes. I've also mentioned other high yield savings account before, and I've kept these, which is CIT Bank Savings Builder. It gets a 1.8% APY with a $25,000 minimum. So just because it has that minimum, it's not as good. There's also Marcus by Goldman Sachs. They used to have a really good interest rate, for the first 3 to 6 months that they introduced it, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's get lazy here and not give people all these good rates. So right now it's at 1.7 APY, so nothing to write home about. And it's just so sad that these banks, they always introduce something and then make everybody go, oh my gosh, that's such a good rate. Everybody, kind of rushes to that bank, put all this deposits in. And once they get all this, they're like, okay, they think people are going to get lazy and not jump around. So, they just kind of lag behind in increasing their interest rate and not follow a competitive rate in the industry. So that's all there is to the savings account. Generally, I would not get a brand new account just because it's like a 0.3% difference. I already have the HSBC direct savings. So, all I have to do is just kind of move some money over, and I don't have to do that much work. This is another reason why I keep so many of these high yield savings account, even though I am sort of done with it and I move most of my money to another account. I just keep it around because sometimes these online banking accounts, they come back alive. They become more competitive. So then I would move my money back into them rather than me trying to open up a bank account again. So if I feel like there's a chance that they may do better in the future, I keep them around. Marcus might have a chance. CIT Bank might have a chance. Discover might catch up, but right now, the two best ones is Public App, which is not really a savings account, and also the HSBC Direct Savings. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a like. Comment down below. Let me know if you follow a similar strategy, if you're using Public App and also a combination with the HSBC Direct Savings. This is a really good way to maximize your savings on the cash that you do hold, not investment money, okay? And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.